Hello everyone and welcome to the Next Level video game talk show. I've been talking probably a little too much about Dragon Quest in general because of Dragon Quest Builders 2. And another big game that came out this month for the Nintendo Switch is Astral Chain. And it's a lot to talk about. So I brought two more people with me to do just that. So to my right, I have Jason Fuller and of course, Gray Jackson. How are you both doing?
Excellent. Good.
Good. Not excellent, not quite up to...
You can only be doing so good in life.
Well, on that note, we're going to talk about Dragon Quest Builders 2. This might be my personal game of the year so far.
It's pretty close for me too.
Yeah?
I loved the original one. It was sort of an adventure for me since I'd always liked like those sort of voxel games like Minecraft or whatever, and this game, it delved into it, but it gave it more depth. It gave it story. It gave it purpose. And like, I've always loved the Dragon Quest aesthetic.
Yeah, there's like this charm that's in that game, in that series.
Yeah.
That's just, it continues through Builders in like such a really cool way. But I always felt like the first game like was very serious.
It was.
People are dying.
It had this like, and the second one does that too, kind of. It's slightly more lighthearted. But like, it's not like violent or crazy, but like, the world is dead, people keep dying, and no one knows how to fix anything.
Yeah, and it's like in the first game, you're talking about saving that person from like the second island where everything is basically just like the land is dead and everything's poisoned, and you have to build this hospital. You
get there and just like the whole world around you is just like it's an apocalypse.
Yeah. So you hit the first thing on the nail on the head? Is that whatever the phrase is, right? But for the first game, that was the big thing. I tried Minecraft on like everything. Didn't like it. Dragon Quest, for some reason, it gave it so much purpose.
It's that feeling of like, whenever I played Minecraft, like it does give you this big open world and lots of tools to do things with. But for me, it lacked some of the amenities that I liked, like seeing the buildings that I created used, and seeing like you can make things look a lot more homey because you have like structures like tables or chairs, and then food, and then people like eat it and sleep in the rooms and whatnot. Right. Instead of like, I built this giant castle. Cool, we're done.
Yeah, and Minecraft felt like make your own fun, and Dragon Quest is like you can do that. But we have a story to tell. We have a purpose to why you're building these things and doing this stuff.
And that is it just gives birth to this whole new thing.
Yeah. And so Dragon Quest Builders 2 basically takes everything about the first one and makes it better in almost every way.
I can't sing its praises heavily enough. Since its announcement, I've been nothing but ecstatic about it. And then hearing about all of the things as it went through development and what was going to be added and everything else, I couldn't even express it. And I actually got to play it. It was just as good, if not better than I expected.
Yeah. Oh, it exceeded almost every expectation I had for the game. I mean, we're talking, the ability to rotate blocks, to not have your armor and hammers and swords and everything break.
Oh my God, yeah. That and like one of my favorite things that like it's so simple, but it was one of the biggest problems for me in the first one, the ability to run.
Right.
Like you could build armors and other things in the first game that were like, well yeah, your movement speed on map is a little bit better, but you'd still get chased endlessly by mobs for like miles.
Yeah.
And now you can just zip on through, get to wherever your destination is and not worry about it.
Yeah. And the nice thing now is that like in the first one you would have the connected areas within the map, but now it's like you could walk to every place and you can teleport to every place.
The teleporting, not having to use the Chimera wing and just being able to be like, hey, you discovered this point on the map, go straight to it if you need to. Mm-hmm. And it's not like there's some huge loading screen, it's literally just whoop, whoop, you're done. Yeah. Man, there's just so much.
Now, are you playing on PS4 or not Xbox, but PS4 or Switch?
I have been playing on PS4.
PS4, okay. So I asked because the Switch version is the one that I'm on because I like the portability. I play so much of it on the go or on lunch break. but the PS4 one actually performs at like double the frame rate.
Yeah, it's really nice. The only reason I got it on PS4 is I was originally planning to play it with a group of my friends because another new cool feature, it actually has multiplayer. And we didn't end up getting around to it because everybody else had either financial or some other issue with it. And so we were going to decide to play it on PS4 because we found out it does have better frame rate.
Yeah.
And man, it's been a blast. Even by yourself, you still have the ability in the game to have like a companion following you around. And through most of the game, you actually do, which is the main character that you find by yourself once you arrive on the Isle of Awakening, Malroth.
Yeah. Who, if I recall correctly, is the original bad guy of the original Dragon Quest II.
Yes,
I think is
he
what they
is.
do. That's always the most interesting thing. Is like the first game was based around what if the hero made the bad choice?
Right, yeah.
And the
it was
second
like,
game
here's,
is pulling
here's
from
the
second
alternate
Dragon
reality
Quest.
of the first game.
Yeah, yeah. So you're talking about the Isle of Awakening, and that's kind of
Yes.
the big theme of the game is rebuilding this whole thing. I guess it kind of starts with, because the Isle of Awakening is like, okay, yeah, whatever, until you get to the first like furrow field and you learn to farm.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like each part of the Isle of Awakening gets like bigger and better every time you complete a new island that you go to. The first one that you get to, you find this like desolate place where all the soil is ruined, and it's even called like all of the blocks that you get from the ground originally are just called spoiled soil.
Yeah.
And so like you can't do anything normal like you would before with like dirt or whatever. You have to use any other new small resource around you. And you find out through the story that like the world is being like harassed and destroyed by these the followers of Hargon, the one who brought the Master of Destruction and ruined the world, even though supposedly Hargon is dead.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to me because in this game now, it feels like when you go to these islands, you're learning things to not only help these people, but to bring it back and make this new island.
Yeah, each new place teaches you a new thing, gives you some new elements and a new tool, which, like you were saying, it has that like new toolbar function where instead of it just being part of your inventory or whatever, you can just swap through your different like utilities, like your hammer or any of the other things that you get.
Yeah, you get that little cup that fills the water.
Oh yeah, that one's really cool.
Bottomless pit.
Yeah,
Water.
because you can pick up poison, you can pick up ocean water eventually.
Apparently, you can pick up lava.
Yep. You can
Make
pick
a
up
Jurassic
anything.
Island, I guess. And make
Right,
some
right.
dinosaurs.
The only one thing that bothered me through the first island at all was there's this place where you make like a spring, and it takes a while because you can't break the blocks where the spring are, so you can't replace the source block of water. So it's always giving you muddy water.
Oh, yeah, I was just thinking about that today. Like, you make this beautiful tree in the middle of town.
Right,
it's
yeah.
filled with this pristine water, and then right next to it's a mud puddle that you just can't.
Like I always, once I found my way to like getting natural spring water in that first area, I was just like, yeah, no, this is what's going in that little river area.
So let's talk about this farming because like for some reason this is super cool to me. It's not like I was like, yeah, I love farming in games. I'm playing Farming Simulator. I love, I mean, Harvest Moon is pretty good. I was about to say I don't love that, but it's like so interesting the way that it's not just plant it in the dirt. It's like cultivate the dirt, plant the dirt. Making the tomatoes with the little sticks.
One of the biggest, coolest things about it is that whenever you get to an area, the people around you actually like interact with things, but they do it in an even more like intricate way than the first one. They like the villagers talk to you and they give you quests like you normally do, but they also help out after you level up the area that you're at. They start like farming and like tilling the soil, and then. Like, so you're the only one that can plant, but once you do that, like, they'll just be like, all right, cool, let's go eat, let's go till more, and then you get more, what is it, like the happiness or whatever? Yeah.
Appreciation, basically.
Yeah, I think that's it. And so the more you get of that, then you can eventually ring the builder's bell again, and then level up your town more, get more recipes, and then they start doing more too.
Yeah. And I love that part of the game because in the previous game, you built more stuff in the town so that you would be stronger. And now you're making these characters stronger. You're making this town stronger.
Yeah.
And but you still level up separately by fighting monsters.
Yeah.
So it's more, because I think the big thing for me in the first game was that you felt like you wanted to take care of these people. You wanted to do well by them.
Right,
and now
yeah.
it's like so much more of the focus of the game. Like, yeah, take care of these people, then they take care of you, and then you all take care of each other.
Right. The more, and like, well, one of the coolest things about it is like every building that you make, they'll eventually use somehow. So like one of the funniest things to touch on here is the latrines. How you have to make, like, you have to make toilets.
Oh,
And you
yes.
have to collect the night soil. Because that's how you fertilize ground and how you make anything greener and whatnot. Because you get this worm companion.
Yep. Was he like Welsh or something?
Something like that.
I'm gonna make this soil now in it.
Yep. And
I don't know what he's doing.
And you feed him worm food, and he creates more farmland, and he creates more like not spoiled dirt. He can fertilize everything and make it better.
I want to go back to this toilet here for a second because the weirdest thing to me is like everyone is very regular. They apparently have to go at the same time, probably from all the cabbage
Every
they eat.
single
I'm
person,
not sure.
they wake up, they eat, bathroom.
But it's like if you only build one toilet, there's just a whole line of people just like shivering, like, oh man.
They have
then
little
you collect
dialogue too.
Oh yeah, they do.
They do.
Oh.
They have little text boxes above, like, "Oh my God, I have to go so bad." I'm like, I don't have any more room for toilets.
Yeah. Oh boy. But what a great game.
I know. You can. There's like a little workaround to that kind of thing. You can just, if you can't build any more horizontally, build vertically and just give it a bunch of like, give it like a big ladder. That's actually
toilets on toilets.
one of the coolest things that I ended up doing in the very first world was actually like I wanted to make more farms.
Yeah.
And since they don't like require sunlight to grow, you just stack them on top of each other.
Just mass produce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, Dragon Quest Builders 2 has just been just a quality of life on every aspect of the game.
I like every single little bit of it has just had some, even if it's just very minor improvement that just makes it like so much more complete.
Yeah, like the simple things like, hey, you can craft more than one item at a time.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you wanted to build 20 of these benches? Sure, do that.
Instead
Not
of it being
one at
like,
a time.
all right, make it. Do it again. Do it again. You
Yeah.
can just
So
little
time-consuming.
indicator, go up, and we're done.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about that game outside of go kill the dragons because they'll give you a sweet dragon.
Oh yeah, no. Search every single part of that game you can, because there's always secret loot and bosses to find.
I guess one other thing I want to talk about for the Isle of Awakening is that so they have a bunch of recipes on there, and we've talked about like kind of the appreciation that you get from all the people. But when you go back to the island and you start bringing these, actually that's like one of the neatest things about the game. You go back and go, hey, we need to build a river. Let's build a forest. Let's build a meadow, a pyramid. But like then you go into your crafting section and there's just all sorts of new stuff that you can build to make this place even better for everyone else.
Exactly. You bring all your recipes back with you, and then the more appreciation you get through building all these different facilities and building farms and towns and whatever else you want to build, because you have all the room recipes now, you just go in, build them, make them as good as you want, and then people will use them, give you the appreciation, and you can unlock other islands to visit.
Yeah.
And the smaller islands, even though they're not like, they seem kind of innocuous at first, but that is until you complete the scavenger hunts for them.
Yeah.
Because after you complete a scavenger hunt on an island, you unlock a block or like an item or something that you permanently have infinite of in your like builder's workshop.
Yeah, and having infinite wood is like the best.
It's kind of like if you can get wood and it's like cord or rope or whatever.
Yep.
It makes the game crazy easier to like make some of the buildings and rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if you haven't played Dragon Quest, I mean, just go do it. I mean, there's a demo. Just go. Wow, that's kind of the crazy thing. That was like the demo is it like right when the game's about to get real good is when it quits. But it's super duper fun. If you like a Minecraft style game, but you want more to do, this is it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth the buy, even at full price. If you ever find it on sale, even just snap it up. Just go for it.
So the other big game we want to touch on is Astral Chain. This is another one where it's continuing the big streak of awesome stuff coming on the Nintendo platform this year. And Platinum Games, it could be hit or miss, but they're known for stylish action and crazy cool games. And it sounds like Astral Chain is definitely one of the good ones.
I absolutely love it. It's actually the first Platinum game that I've ever played.
Really? No Bayonetta? No...
I started Bayonetta, but then for some reason, I just didn't continue. I tried Devil May Cry, and I just couldn't continue. But then, for some reason, Astral Chain comes along, and I'm just blown away.
Really? Yeah. So what's got you? What's taken your breath from you?
I don't know. I think I like the art style that it goes with. It goes for the anime, over the top fighting styles and all that fun stuff. Using the legions themselves. And the Astral Chain is actually just what links you between you and the Legion to fight with.
Yeah. So tell me about that, because that's kind of like the crux of the story, right? Is that you're collecting these legions to stop the world from being completely decimated?
So in the story, chimeras are pretty much putting humans at the brink of extinction.
Okay.
So somehow we're able to control certain chimeras after they've tested so many times. And there's actually only about 5 legions that we can use for ourselves because they've only have so many people that can use them. So you join the police force in it, and then you are lucky enough to be part of the Neuron team, who are the only people that can link up to the legions.
Okay. So you're a police officer with a sword, a gun, and a monster.
Well, you start off with a baton.
Oh, okay.
And then you get a big enough sword to hit things with.
All right. But I guess if the world's on the brink of destruction,
Yeah, apparently the whole world itself is pretty much destroyed on the top, so now we're on a man-made island that's floating called the Ark, and we're there to make sure that the chimeras don't destroy everything.
Okay.
But then everything is just becoming worse and worse, and we're training our legions that we have to collect after they were taken away by other chimeras. They were corrupted even further because they got pulled into the different dimension that the chimeras are originally from. And they just become overpowered, and then soon your character just becomes more synced with his original legion, and then you're able to gain control of that and then fight off the other legions that were corrupted again, and then collect them further on into the story.
So we're talking about these legions. We're talking about how you're in control of them, and apparently there's quite a bit of them that you capture like Pokemon, in a sense. Is there a lot of those, or is it not really?
There's only 5.
Only 5? Okay, I think you said that. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's only 5 of them because they only have so many people that can link up or sync up to the legions. There's only 5 people that can connect to them. You just so happen that you were actually born during the corruption happening on Earth, that you're better able to sync up with your original one, and then all the other ones get corrupted even further from what they were, and then you have to go out and fight them and just take them part of your team.
So do they all have these different abilities, different skills?
Yeah, so you start with a sword who has 2 swords on its hands, and you just swing them, and they're like a little battle tap that spins out and then hits everything. You gain the archer one that just has 2 big bow and arrows on its arms. There's a brawler one that just goes a whole Jotaro punching and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
There's a big Buster Blade one that is just probably bigger than the little platform that we're on right now. And then my favorite one is the Hound. You get to ride on it like a horse, and then you can also make it dig in certain spots to get special items for your character.
That is cool.
Wow.
Tell me about the action, because this is the thing so Platinum is known for how good and how tight their action is, but I've heard that this one is maybe not as focused on the action. It's a little bit more easier to get into.
I definitely say it's a lot easier to get into. Like I said, it's the first Platinum game that I've ever gotten into, but I've also noticed how more limited it is compared to Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, where it's just you're going to fly everywhere else, and in this one you're just completely hooked up to your legion, and just batting them with your baton, your glaivius that they call the sword, and then your gun, and then combo through all that.
Are you learning like more combos and more abilities as the person, or is it mainly just about these Legion?
Unfortunately, you don't learn too many combos through it, but
Okay.
then you're able to upgrade your Legion through a skill tree as you continue through it. I've only been able to upgrade the sword one because I just wanted to keep playing.
With the sword. Well, so I guess I look at that as that's probably a good thing from all the different stuff that seems like it's in the game. You were showing me a little bit with the platforming, and I saw some clips of how you're maneuvering this, because you're in direct control of where the Legion is at, right?
Yep.
So you're like wrapping chains around enemies at certain points, and
Yep, when you're in battle, you can wrap around the enemies so that they get chained to the ground so you can go and do more combos to them. And then if you see them like have a little a way where they're about to try and ram you, you can put your Legion out to the side so you can just whip them back.
Okay. And then what did I see? Like they were cutting some sort of tether in between characters. Like you can have your Legion like slice some. I don't know how to explain it because I've played this game, but it looks so cool. So I was watching some videos, but it looked like there was an enemy one attached to like their own Legion. Do they have some like that?
The enemies have like these little dolls that kind of connect to them, so they become indestructible. You can't do any damage to them. So with your Sword Legion, you have to cut that tether so that you can do damage to both of them.
Okay, I think that's why that seems so cool to me, is that it's not just the fighting you know from Platinum, it's now all these other kinds of ideas that they've had, and it looks super cool. So, you know, someone wrote an article that said this is the best new IP that Nintendo's had since Splatoon 2.
I absolutely have to say that because I love Splatoon 2 also.
Okay, I wanted to ask because like Splatoon 2 is, you know, it's America's game. So okay, I've got one more question for both of you. And it is both involving doggos. I know in Dragon Quest, you can pet the dog.
You can, in fact, pet the dog.
Can you pet the dog in Astral Chain?
No, but you can make them go sniff around.
All right, I guess we'll count it. We'll count it.
It's a big dog. It's freaking
You
scary.
can
All
ride
the
yours, so
more
that's
room
cool.
to pet.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Well, awesome. I think it's been an awesome month for games, and honestly, it just seems like the start of so many more big things coming. I mean, speaking on Dragon Quest 11 is now coming to Switch. It's already out on PS4 if you could try it there. And just, man, we're about to get into Control and Death Stranding and all sorts of really, really cool titles.
Borderlands 3.
You're right, Borderlands 3. There's a lot. I can't keep track of them all because there's so many good games coming out for the rest of the year. So I can't wait to dive into more. I want to thank you both for coming over here and talking about these two because, I mean, everyone knows I want to talk about Dragon Quest 2, and Astral Chain looks off the chain.
Oh my God.
I'm an old dad. I can do this joke. But if you want to hear more from us, every Monday we have a podcast go live on iTunes and Google Play. It's on Spotify as well. It's The Next Level, a video game podcast. And that goes live every Monday. And of course, you can check out tnlvl.blogspot.com to see a couple other videos and such that we do. This goes up every month, and we talk about the two highlight big games of that time. So we want to say thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and we'll see you on the next level.